Jeff, how's practice today?
They were good. They were good. It was hot and muggy. Crazy. It's almost Halloween. We were sweated down in the walkthrough, but it was still a good practice. Kids are great. They really are. They're wonderful. I'm as proud of this team as any of them for how they've hung in there and continue to really, trust our culture and play for the right reasons. And it's really an honorable thing for those guys to have hung in there like they have.
What's the message in regards to Tulsa this week?
It's no different than it is every week. I mean, as far as we're really working on us, as far as what their team is, they're a really tough group of kids. They're a reflection of their head coach. Kevin Wilson's very, I hate to say old because he's my age, but I mean, he's just a tough old coach. He was the offensive coordinator at Oklahoma. I think from 2002 to 2010, we were sending a lot of kids to Oklahoma during that time. So I got very familiar with just their staff and their schemes. But I studied him. He was at Northwestern. He was running the spread before the spread was cool in the 90s. I remember getting VHS tapes and taping his games. And they were running the quarterback and quarterback dart and just all the schemes you see now, he was doing all those years ago. So I was just about to become a head coach at that time and stole a lot of his ideas. So I've known him for a long time and a lot of respect for him. Defensively, they're similar to their offense. They're a bunch of tough kids. They're very physical. It's ironic that the culture pillar this week's physical toughness because we're going to need it. So we've got to get better on our kickoff teams not being what we wanted to be this year. We're usually dominant on that team. And we've just been okay. And so this week's on physical toughness. So we really stressed, how good are we at stopping the run? Well, we're very good. How good are we at running the ball? We were terrible when the year started, and we've slowly gotten a little bit better, but we're average at that right now. Covering kicks, we're okay at covering kickoffs, and we're pretty good at covering punts. So that's the stuff we've really been working hard on, and I hope it shows up Saturday. It usually does.
Jeff, how's the team's injury outlook progressed the past couple of days? Any reasons to be more or less optimistic?
We got good news on Tripp. We'll see if he can go. We got good news on Ken. We'll see if he can go. The one that we know we lost obviously was JT. But those will all be game time decisions, and we'll just see if they can go or not.
Is Devin McHugh in a long-term situation, or is that week to week as well?
We just don't know. We don't know. He will not be playing in this game. We'll see how much longer that's going to last.
We talked to Ben Rios yesterday. What have you noticed about his connection with DeAndre Marshall and maybe how that's going to help him along and get settled in here?
We recruited those kids together, and they've been, I don't know how long they've been best friends, but I know they've been really good friends for a long time. And, DeAndre was so thrilled when we offered him. I mean, he was just, I remember him just, I don't even think we had to recruit him. Like, we offered him, I think he might have just committed right there on the spot. He just wanted to stay here and play here so much. And Ben always wanted to stay and play here, but we had to recruit him a lot longer and harder, and his family. And we got close to both those families. And really glad they chose us to stay here. And I'm glad to see, there's a lot of good stories in that last game of Texas high school football players that we recruited and developed. And it's a good thing because you get to know those guys so well.
One of those Texas high school guys, Tate Sandel, I think we might be talking to today. Obviously, you kind of move him into that role out of necessity in some ways, but what did he show you to be ready to take on the field goal kicking job?
Yeah, I don't. I would disagree on the necessity. He's been in that hunt for a long time, and obviously, I know what you mean by your comment. But I would say Chase has been a good kicker for us, for 2 years. That wasn't like a just quick decision. That was a painful decision that Tate had earned by how good he had been kicking the ball summer, spring, fall camp, season. And if we would have had our ops correctly, he would have made the 55-yarder against Texas. We didn't have the ops correctly, so he had to kick it again, and he missed it the second time. So he's done more than his fair share to earn that job. He was a really good high school player, obviously, a really good soccer player. He'll be fired up. because they got the big rivalry game going this weekend. We got, Port Neches Grove playing their arch rival, and I'm sure if you ask him about it, he'll be glad to tell you all about their rivalry with Nederland.
We saw that flip against Rice where Tate sort of took over, and it was like mid-game, it seemed like, where Chase kicked the first one and then Tate stepped in the rest of the way. Is that sort of a tough thing to be able to answer that call in the moment for Tate, or how does that play out?
That's tough on anybody, especially skilled kids. That's why I'm so slow to do it. I'm very loyal to punters, kickers, quarterbacks. Those guys, so much of their job is psychological, to your point. And that's why I'm a real stubborn person when it comes to hanging there with people, especially people, their jobs are between their ears mainly.
Jeff, you guys are favored on the road against maybe one of the bottom teams in the standings of this conference. How do you guys avoid overlooking them this week?
Because we don't know about it till guys like you bring it up. So we never, ever talk about it except when JJ asks his weekly question. And hopefully none of my guys watch your show and know what you're talking about. We don't talk about it.
All right, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.